This is me, the lone warrior, trying to record something for YouTube, and the first thing that came in my mind that I want to record for YouTube is actually the upcoming release of Akira from Rival Schools. She's coming over as a playable character at Street Fighter 5, and I just want to show some things that I might contribute or might demonstrate here in whatever might transfer to Street Fighter 5 from Rival Schools. Since let me just run the game here. Okay. So this is Rival Schools, by the way, 3D game also made by Capcom, which actually Akira came from. So I'm just gonna demonstrate you some things that I might do. I might go into, and probably some things that I might think that will come to Street Fighter. Just a disclaimer here. Actually, the fighting game of preference that I have is actually Tekken 7, which is a 3D game, and I might not really be familiar with the mechanics of Street Fighter. So what we see now here is Akira's move list. Here we see she has these fireball inputs, so that might not be a hard thing to come by with Street Fighter. So as we all know, I did play some Street Fighter myself, and there are characters that have these fireball inputs. So let's get down to it. So she has the fireball punch, fireball kick, and also backwards fireball kick and punch. And where it gets complicated here is actually from her stance, which is the Reflex Stance, accessible from inputting quarter circle back, then a punch. This goes either or, I believe. So I'm gonna do. This is one. I'm doing this stance from heavy punch, and this one is from light punch. Each stance actually has strings that you can execute. That's what you see there over here: the launch pad, booty beater, folder bash, air piece. And another disclaimer: I'm doing this via emulator just to display what Akira can do in Rival Schools. This is Rival Schools United by Fate. I didn't mention it at the beginning of the video, so there might be changes when it comes to Project Justice, another game which is playable on the Sega Dreamcast. But this is the Akira that I'm actually knowledgeable about at the very least. So, well, not as in depth as might others expect, I guess. But these are the things Akira has access to in terms of Rival Schools United by Fate. So she's pretty much a fireball character. And let me just showcase you some of her moves, because this is where it gets tricky. So this is Gate Elbow. It's like similar to Asuka's Tooth Fairy, I guess, or maybe early Tooth Fairy from Jin Tekken 3, since the move actually requires you to sidestep the move, meaning Tooth Fairy. This is the heavy punch version of Gate Elbow. As you can see, Akira steps back and does a little sidestep before executing a launch here. Now, it's possible for Street Fighter here to put it at rush counter status or knockdown status if it isn't a counter hit, but I can see this as a launch attack from Street Fighter where you can deal massive combos. Usually it's that those moves are what I see as crush counters. This one, and of course this will be punishable, I suppose. Actually, this one is the light version of the Gate Elbow, no sidestep and backstep here. Probably a bit safer. I don't think I can cancel it, but yeah. since yeah, I got lost in the train of thought here. So this thing here, also same properties as the earlier gate elbow. Yeah. Well, this training mode, this Akira actually, the Akira dummy executes the safe fall. That's a rival school's mechanic, but I can see here also being as the same with the gate elbow from earlier. I don't really know if, I guess what might come in Street Fighter is this the heavy version might be unsafe, or the light. I'm getting lost here. So this is heavy, this is light. So the light version might be safer, but doesn't that I believe that doesn't how it doesn't really work that way in Street Fighter. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that heavy attacks are punishable and light attacks are safer. I believe, as from my experience, some light attacks in Street Fighter are actually unsafe. So these are the moves that you can access actually from cancel. So that's a simple jab combo. This is a confirm combo, I suppose. That can also happen, but I'm on the betting side that it will be more of a crush counter with its evasive properties. And leg up, this is leg up, I believe. What? Yup. That's a grab that's supposed to launch. That's the heavy version. This is the light version. I guess they're pretty much the same. Weird thing here is, by the way, is the I'm reviewing the move name. The name of the move. That's the dancing cyclone kick. This is the heavy version. This is the light version. I guess this thing can be a safe knockdown move for Street Fighter, because I'm guessing this thing, since this has a step here integrated to the move, what can happen is this might be Akira's fireball evasion move. I don't know if they still put this fireball evasion mechanic on all characters like in Street Fighter 4 from what I've gathered knowledge of, but from what I see here, you can see this move. I'm seeing it as similar to Jury's V-skill, I guess. Was it the V-skill? But the kicks here, I'm hoping this will be a fireball evasion move, because Akira, I don't think she has really any mechanic here that can go through a fireball. So I guess before we differentiate what's the difference between an Akira with a helmet and Akira with this costume, let's just go through what the strings are in the Reflex Stance. So let's go first with launch pad. Launch pad goes through light punch, heavy punch, light punch, heavy punch, heavy kick, and then light kick. So like this. So this is like this. So if you're wondering where the light kick comes in, the light kick comes in when she jumps in the air. So this goes like this again: light, heavy, heavy, and light. So that's light punch, heavy kick, then light kick. So now let's go to bully beater. This bully beater here, I guess in like rival schools. That's bully beater. It's a regular string. Actually reminds me a bit of Karen and how she executes. Maybe the rest of the Reflex Stance might be similar to how a Karen combos, to put inputs with a fireball, but instead it's a singular button input. Can't really know, but as it's laid out in the move list here, it's a single button input, accessible from a stand. So let's go to falter bash. So that's heavy punch, light punch, low light, heavy punch, light kick, and heavy. Let's see. So this one is a safe, supposed to be safe, I guess, because brings you pushback, but yeah, that's Polter Bash for you. That's a safe string, and now we have air fees. So, heavy kick, light kick. What? So I guess that's air fees. It's an automatic air launcher combo. So that's the weird thing here in they call this in rival schools. How can we differentiate this from Street Fighter when most of the moves here are actually comboable in the air? So that's another thing to look for, I guess, in Street Fighter 5. I'm hoping. So there is such a thing where you can juggle opponents in the air. So air fees, I don't think necessarily all these strings here will be transferred over to Street Fighter 5, but we can see how Akira works in the game by using these strings as our baseline. So let's go to her potential critical arts called here Burning Vigor Attack. So this is called Aura. Similar to Kikosho of Chun-Li. Doable in the air. You know, the weird thing is, I'm supposed to imagine that this is doable in the air, but the game doesn't let me. So there's that. I can't return to the other side, so let's stick there. And too bad the training mode here doesn't have command inputs. Reflex Barrage is critical arts, super similar to Chun-Li's. I guess there's a similarity to Chun-Li's, I guess, because of the kicks. But it's basically a beatdown critical art. I don't know which one or which of the many critical arts here will be accessible for Akira come Street Fighter 5. So those are the three critical arts that we might see. But yeah, I got lost again. So that's pretty much the Akira move list. So yes, I don't think Akira here. We can't really display some moves here that might be, what do you call this? They are called special moves that we can put directional inputs. So here's one, actually, a cartwheel to a kick. That's forward heavy kick to heavy kick also. So that might be a special move. I don't believe that appears in the move list. So these moves, we have to check them out. This thing here, that's a part of flexible stance here, I believe. This is forward heavy punch. Pretty much each special move here in rival schools is displayed as something of a knockdown, but you can tech roll out of the air. It's called safe fall here. So that's a display of what we can do. So these moves, probably counter move, special, or they might be cancelable, I guess. They can be your command moves. So forward heavies usually have their commands in them. So that's Reflex Stance. The weird thing about Reflex Stance here is you have to manually input it. I don't believe this is where my lack of knowledge of the game comes from, because there's not really an instance where you can access the move from a string. So to demonstrate it, yeah, you can cancel it from a string though. So you can cancel it from a confirm. So you can go light jab here. So you can go reflex, or you can go light kick and light kick, light punch, and light kick, light punch. I'll just do that. Light punch to light kick, then she goes to reflex. So that's pretty much it for the generic moves of Akira. I guess we can see the gate elbow becoming a crush counter. She has to have one, of course. And it looks like that's the only heavy move that she has on her arsenal that can be a crush counter, I suppose. But these are some of the predictions that I can give you from someone who is very excited to see Akira in Street Fighter 5. Yeah, so another thing here is you can see a team up technique here, Minion Synchronized Attack. So that's not it, by the way. This is the sync attack of the Helmet Akira. So let me just get you to contrast the differences between Akira without the biker costume against the... made a mistake. Anyway, I'm seeing Akira so far as probably having the same mechanics as Karen, which means that her moves rely on you to time in order to execute a combo. So let's just change the stage for a different atmosphere, I guess. So what I see in Karen is once Karen lifts the opponent up in the air, there's this window input similar to Akuma, I guess, that you have to execute this move in a certain frames, I guess. So that's what I see what will happen to Akira similarly. So in contrast to Karen, I guess, I'm using Karen as an example here because her combos are so long from what I see in those tournaments and of course from other gameplay footage. And she's also a fireball input character that we can contrast from. And pretty much here also Akira has all these fireball inputs. So let me just get down to it. I won't be taking too long. I think I'm reaching 20 minutes here. 20 minutes in the video for someone who is just excited about Akira coming into the game, which I don't really regularly play. So let's get down to the differences. So pretty much they have the same moveset. So what you saw me do earlier with the Akira without the biker costume, it's the same pretty much. Here is the contrast that will come. It's the gate elbow, of course. I don't know how Capcom will do this or how will they aesthetically change this for the costume or what. I'm doubtful because the difference here is the gate elbow of the regular Akira launches the opponent in the air, whilst this biker Akira just knocks the opponent down. So that's why the first thing on my mind that popped up is this is going to be a crush counter. This is definitely one of those moves that if you get right timing, you'll get rewarded heavily, and of course you will be punished if somehow the opponent gets a nice read on you. So pretty much the same. Now let's get to the synchronized attack of Akira, the non-biker. This is the synchronized attack. I haven't really put into consideration that these sync attacks will be part of her critical arts, because I did see a Twitter post or a video post spreading around Facebook that actually Daigo has to be involved in her critical art because she's the only rival school's character so far to be made playable in Street Fighter 5. So there might be other references to the game itself, and that might probably have an effect on Akira's, they call this Akira's critical art. So yeah, I guess I pretty much blabbered on what Akira can do and what Akira might bring in Street Fighter 5. I see her, to sum it all up, I'm gonna put a, I'm just gonna put a timestamp over here if uh, people don't want to hear the long version. And so I guess Akira will come off as someone who is similar to Karen and Akuma, who pretty much everyone else who relies on combos to deal big damage. In contrast to charge characters like Guile, and I don't want to put Chun-Li in that category since I know she's a hybrid. She has those fireball inputs. So they rely on big combos to deal huge amounts of damage. And pretty much it's going to be a rushdown character, I believe. She doesn't have many defensive tools, and I believe she can have the fireball evasion mechanic with her dancing cyclo kick, but then again, I don't really know how Street Fighter V will balance her as a guest character from rival schools. So, and of course, the Reflex Stance. Hopefully, if that mechanic is transferred over to Street Fighter V, it can be accessible as a cancelable move. So, pretty much, this is very shallow analysis of what Akira will come to as a Street Fighter. I just wanted to demonstrate it as I'm very excited to see how Akira will fare in Street Fighter V, since she's coming from a 3D mechanics world where there's a stepping, sidestepping, and actually rival schools is made with air combos in mind. Let's see how this goes. But I'm from what I see in Street Fighter V, well, it's more of Akira will be someone who relies on those long combos, and probably, well, we did see a bit of her confirms, but I couldn't really get her to confirm here in Street rival schools. I'm not sure if it's more of a problem with my execution or it's just how the game works, because the combos that you're supposed to do here are supposed to be aerial, similar to Marvel vs. Capcom or Marvel vs. Street Fighter, those games. And yeah, I'm pretty much going to end it there. And so this is pretty much going to be a first of my series of commentaries in YouTube. Maybe I'll continue this. I'm not really quite sure on how to do these things, so I talked a lot for the first video on YouTube. My god, I'm quite a talker. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed, and if you've reached this far on the video, I'd like you to give me at least a like and those subscribe things. So there's pretty much no editing here done. It's just a raw recording. And I hope you got something from what I've shown you and I've demonstrated. And of course, if I've missed anything, if I don't know, I'm positive that I don't really know much about the game and how the combo system works in rival schools, like those who delved into the game so much so that they've competed and the likes. I'd like you to leave a comment, and of course share this video. And what else, yeah, I'm pretty much excited for Akira to appear in season 4, or no wait, they're in season 5. I've got the seasons mixed up. I hope the future is bright for Street Fighter. Rose, Dan, and Oro will be coming soon, along with a special guest character. Maybe I'll get to play Street Fighter 5 soon. But yeah, I'm just a mere casual compared to what the hours I put in Tekken. So yeah, this is the Lone Warrior, just a fellow enthusiast in fighting games, sharing some knowledge of what I know and demonstrating here in rival schools and what to come in Street Fighter predictions. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching.